And the possibilities for the city of Lansing and our region are really extraordinary right now. And so it's really exciting to be coming in with Mayor Schor, who is a good friend of mine and a good leader. And he has a lot of good ideas, and as you all know, for those of you who know Mayor Bernero, I think everyone does, a very different style. No, I'm not saying that's good or bad, I'm just saying it's different. Right. So, the approach is very different, and I think in particular the approach in how we work with our regional partners is very different. And I was thinking about, what I would talk to you guys about. We do have the State of the City tonight, so if y'all are interested and free and want to come to Pat and Gill Academy and join us, we'd love to have you at 7 o'clock. But it's weird to write a State of the City speech 37 days into office because we just wrote an outlook speech. So having to figure out, to have a different message. Don't want to say the same thing, but also, I was just saying I don't have business cards yet. So we're trying to write about the vision and where are we going, and we're just figuring out office things like business cards. But we do have a lot of vision and a lot of things we want to focus on. And the transition focus is really economic development, infrastructure, education, how do we have a better link with our schools, which I think is really important. Regionally, that's something that urban core communities across the state struggle with, right? As suburban communities grow stronger and people leave the urban core because of schools, that's a real issue. People stay in the city, but also having a strong regional school system. And if Lansing's schools fail, that does affect the rest of the region. So how do we really strengthen that relationship? Working better with regional partners, neighborhoods, and way therefore, and neighborhoods are a huge focus as well. So the speech will contain a lot of those things, but it also contains a regional component. And I think that really when we look at regionalism, it's not about how do we compete with each other, it's about how do we look at all of the assets we have in each community and how do we complement each other. And how can we look at our region in a holistic way and say, we have, no other community has Michigan State. So East Lansing has that unique institution. The businesses that are in Delta Township, this business corridor is critical to the entire region. Same thing with Meridian Township on the other end. And then we have the state government center and then further down. So all of those things should complement one another. We shouldn't be competing. Now that's easier said than done. There's still times where, we're all going to want the same business. I know Costco announced in Meridian Township, we were trying to get them Lansing. I'm still slightly bitter at Costco. But no, but that's a huge important business for the region. So how do we look at that in a different way and strengthen those relationships in a way that we're able to have frank conversations? And sometimes we're not going to agree, and that's okay. And how do we disagree disrespectfully without calling one another names, and without being disrespectful? I think that's a huge part of it. And Andy's background in the legislature, that happens a lot. You disagree a lot with a lot of people. So how do you bring that into local government? And I think that really helps shape his vision of how we all work together. So I know it's a short time frame. I don't know how long you'll be to talk, or
maybe you want to take a few questions.
Take questions.
No, Kelly's just chopping it.
Kelly has all the answers.
How do you anticipate this mayor reaching out to, in particular, townships and really solidifying a regional effort that's more consistent and fair across the board, as opposed to former Mayor Bernero's style, which was to demonize Lansing Township, for example, and to do everything in his power to save us the regional government, and then do everything that's in their mind.
Well, Mayor Schor and I both have a great relationship with DeAndre Hayes, going back to the time in the legislature. And I think that, Mayor Bernero fundamentally thought that the Lansing Township should exist, correct? I think he said that a lot, so I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. But, I think that the approach of sort of attacking them, they're a governmental entity that exists in our region. They're not going anywhere. So it's how do we look at the assets Lansing Township has? How do we, help them? At my last job, I was working at a data company. Lansing Township was one of our clients, and they have some financial challenges. So if there are a lot of financial issues in Lansing Township, that will affect our entire region. So how do we? So it will take sitting down together, reaching out together, and we are. I know someone is filming this, but we are going to be announcing in the State of the City a regional effort we're kicking off in the fall. I won't spoil it. You can tune into WILX or City TV and find out. But we do want to have a regional conversation and approach that talks about the opportunities and challenges. And so, and some of that will be convening all the different organizations and organizations like the Chamber and other business community folks and MSU and how do we all come together, you know, CATA, the airport, how do we all come together and talk about the opportunities and the challenges of the region and come up with a strategy to move forward regionally so that we're not just focusing on one community or targeting.
Did I say anything?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here, and
Yeah,
congratulations. And congratulations to Andy, of course. I can speak firsthand about his willingness to work collaboratively with people, of course, in our different parties, but found ways to work together in both of our times in the legislature. And I was excited to see this opportunity for him. And I know there's been a lot of talk about the tough issues in Lansing, specifically the debt and obligations that are out there. I heard Andy's interview with Dave Agley on my way in this morning. He said that he is going to address that to an extent in his speech, and I was wondering if you could give us any insight or preview as to what that might look like. From my understanding, it's something that's ballooned to half of the city's budget in the not too distant future, and that's obviously something that needs to begin with that money to other city services. And Lansing being the core of this region, many of our communities are dependent upon the robust, abilities of Lansing to be the best city possible. So I just wanted to see if you had any update for us on that.
Yeah, that's the elephant in the room, right? We, back in 2012, Mayor Regionalism appointed this financial health team, and that they did issue some recommendations at the end of the year. I think the challenge of that team is it was sort of starting and stopping, and there wasn't a lot of deadlines and directions. So we are going to be really focusing and repurposing the financial health team and using them in a significant advisory capacity. We had a fantastic group. Tim Day from the Chamber is involved, the executive committee for Sony. I know Eric really well from working on municipal finance for years. And so we're really bringing in, Eric has a class of students that Chelsea and I met with last week, can't remember. So we're going to have an MSU class helping us look at some operational efficiencies. We're not announcing this in the speech, so it's spoiler anything, but that was one of the things coming into City Hall. It seems like it's not a big deal, but we have a purchasing program for the board of water and light. So anything we buy over $15,000 goes to that. But operationally, every department is buying their own things, and it's small things like business cards. Everything is being purchased at the department level. There's no centralized, and I don't know if that saves 20 grand, I don't know what to say, but operationally, it seems to make a lot of sense. And I really tasked the students and Eric with looking at how do we look at the operational efficiencies, and they may save money or they may save someone's time, in which case that time can go towards something else. And so I think that's a big, for us coming in, that's for me been one of the biggest surprises is the, I think, lack of operational centralization in City Hall. Kind of everyone is doing their own thing, and there's not a lot of, there had not been. Surprisingly, Mayor Mayor was a strong leader, but there wasn't a sort of strong, there aren't a strong set of policies. So that's something we're really kind of working on. And in terms of the legacy cost issue, I mean, it's huge, it's a big issue. The number is huge. Our funding is actually not terrible. So that's kind of the issue. People look at the number and they say the number is enormous. But in terms of funding levels, we're not really too poorly compared to a lot of other cities or communities. But I think that it's working with the financial health team, coming up with creative solutions, and the mayor's going to test them on coming up with significant recommendations very quickly, within 6 months. And we're hoping by the first of next year, we're really starting to implement some serious changes in some of the healthcare plans and things like that. So it has to be addressed, and preferably early in the term. The earlier we get these things done, the sooner the changes